Hi, and welcome to Sears ThinkBox, the Innovation Center and Makerspace at Case Western Reserve University. This is a 7-story, 50,000 square foot tinkerer's playground. Whether you're making things for your research, for academics, for personal projects, competition projects, or you have an idea for a company you'd like to start, you're going to be right at home here at ThinkBox. Floor 1, Community. Floor 2, Collaboration. Floor 3, Prototyping. Floor 4, Fabrication. Floor 5, Project Space. Floor 6, Entrepreneurship. And Floor 7, the Incubator. Our collaboration floor was mainly patterned after what we saw at the Stanford D School. That's their design school. This floor has creative furniture, whiteboards, multimedia meeting areas, so that you and your team can meet in person and brainstorm. Here's a conference room that you can reserve. Here's a presentation area. Now let's go to the prototyping floor. These days, prototyping often involves digital fabrication. The idea is that you start your design in computer-aided design, CAD, on the computers here, or for more organic shapes, you can start with a 3D scan. Here's a bank of desktop 3D printers. These machines use a technology called fused deposition modeling or fused filament modeling, and it's basically like a very accurate hot glue gun. With a hot glue gun, you have a rod of plastic that gets pushed through a heated cone. The heated cone melts the plastic, and you can sit there and deposit any shape you want onto, say, a piece of cardboard. Now, if you used a hot glue gun to draw a circle, and then you wait for it to cool and harden, and you draw another circle on top of that, and another circle on top of that, then layer by layer, you can build a cylinder out of plastic. That's essentially how these machines work, only with much higher accuracy. These machines here are our industrial 3D printers. The ones behind me used fused deposition modeling, similar to the desktop units that you saw out on the bench. But there's a big difference. If I put my hand inside this enclosure, I can feel that it's warm. This is a heated build chamber, and it helps the parts be much more accurate by keeping them at just below their glass transition temperature. This is a PolyJet style 3D printer, and it works on a fundamentally different principle. So whereas the other machines that you saw work like a very fancy hot glue gun, this machine works more like an office printer or the inkjet printer that you might have at home. Here's our electronics area, and we have all the usual suspects available to you. There's oscilloscopes, power supplies, soldering stations, multimeters, function generators. This machine here is a vinyl cutter, and this cutting head moves back and forth, and it can cut out shapes, letters, what have you, patterns out of vinyl materials. This is our photo area where you can take really amazing photos and videos of the projects that you create. We've got a number of resources for working with cloth and textiles. This is a commercial-grade 8-thread embroidery machine. These are laser cutters. The idea is that you put a piece of water plastic down here on this bed, and you draw a design on the computer, and then you click File, Print. Over here we have a dirty room where you can do mold making, epoxy and glue ups, and there's a fume hood here along with a vacuum chamber inside there so that you can degas your molds as you're making them so that you don't get little bubbles inside of your mold. Next up is the fabrication floor. We've got a fully equipped wood shop, metal shop, water jet studio, welding studio. Let's take a look. Of course, on this floor we're going to have to put on our safety glasses. Here's our welding studio. We've got MIG welding and TIG welding, and really high-end equipment that was all generously provided by Lincoln Electric. They're a global leader in welding that's headquartered right here in Northeast Ohio. I'm here in our wood shop. We have all the usual traditional pieces of equipment. We've got a table saw, drill press, sanders, joiner and planer, wood lathe, miter saw, panel saw, bandsaw. We also have a computer-controlled table router called the ShopBot. The idea is that you draw something on the computer in CAD, and then you send it to the machine, and the machine will cut your part out of wood or plastic. We've got a fully equipped metal shop with all the equipment you need to make your projects a success. We've got a horizontal bandsaw, vertical bandsaw, grinders and sanders, lathes, which use a circular cutting path, mills, which utilize straight cutting paths, drill presses. For sheet metal, we have a shear for cutting, and we have a brake for bending. There's also a CNC computer-controlled mill and a CNC lathe. One of my favorite machines is this water jet cutter. The idea is you put a piece of wood, metal, plastic, stone, almost anything on these slats here. You draw the shape on the screen that you want to cut, you click a couple buttons, and out comes your part. Here on the projects floor, we have project storage, and we also have competition teams. Here's storage for flat materials. We have lockers you can use to store smaller projects like electronics. And for larger projects, we have rolling carts, and we also have these large cages. This is the SAE, or Society of Automotive Engineers. They participate in a competition called Mini Baja. Here's the Case Aeronautics team, and as you might guess, they make airplanes. It can range from the smaller one that you see on the bench behind me, all the way up to that 12-foot wingspan airfoil that you see on the far wall. Here's the Case Rocket team. One of the first things you do in the Case Rocket team is you design and build a certification rocket, which launches a few hundred feet up into the air. And if you get certified, then you are then allowed to work on the larger rockets, like those ones on the far wall behind me. This is the robotics team called Crewbotics. They make small competition robots all the way up to very, very large ones, like this NASA Miner robot that you see on the workbench. Here is a fully outfitted CAD studio. We have about 20 seats, 20 computers here. They run SolidWorks, which is the CAD or computer-aided design software that we use here on campus. This is usually a quiet and peaceful place, so it's a great place to work on your homework or study in an area that's going to help you focus on the work that you have to do. Also on this floor, we have a paint room where you can do your painting, and all the fumes from your paint or your staining operation or whatever you're doing are going to get sucked through these filters and then exhausted outside of the building after they've been filtered. Here's our entrepreneurship floor. On this floor, you can begin to operate a startup company. So we can help you get linked up with the resources you need to write a business plan, file a patent application, find investors, all those kinds of things so you can actually get your idea to market. This floor includes a co-working space, small meeting areas, privacy booths for your phone calls and video meetings. There's a small conference room and a large conference room. There's also a mail room, which can help you grow your business by giving you a legal address to operate your business out of. ThinkBox and related campus offices have now helped over 100 startups get off the ground and helped those startups raise over $37 million in external funding, sales, and awards. Once your venture really gets going, you might outgrow the shared resources available here on the entrepreneurship floor. You then have an opportunity to use the dedicated offices here on the incubator floor. Here, you'll find a variety of offices that can be leased on a yearly basis for your startup. There's also a large garage space in the center, which is free for use for student startups that have a physical or hardware prototype that they're incubating and need a place to store it. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me. Until next time, I'll look forward to seeing you here at Sears ThinkBox. Bye-bye.